sure one or more pop up in your mind. Now, if you had to take that a step further, which of those individuals would you gladly sit down with and share a meal? Not only just share a meal, but engage in conversation, have disagreements, ask their opinion, give your opinion, and what would you ask and learn directly from the source? When I was asked this question of who I would invite to my VIP dinner party, there were 3 individuals that made my list. Now, not only do I admire these people, but I would love to have an opportunity to converse with them, let alone sit down with them and share a meal. After compiling my list, my mind immediately went to, oh no, what could I make these people for dinner? And after settling on a recipe that my mother gave me, I started to think about, what would I say? What would I ask? How would I take this impactful, amazing dinner and turn it into something that I could carry with me for the rest of my life? And exactly where would the evening go with conversation that was with an intellectual genius, a powerful civil rights activist, and a larger-than-life movie star? My first guest was a no-brainer for me. I've been inspired and in awe of not only her work, her wisdom, but also her radiance, despite never having met her. The individual for me is Marilyn Monroe. Now, while many may not think of her as a historical figure, she is absolutely in that category. From her influence in film to becoming a pop culture icon, Marilyn Monroe has captivated the hearts of billions. Well after her untimely death, Marilyn Monroe was born Norma Jean Mortensen, and she catapulted her way into the film industry after taking a few suggested racy photos. And she, at the beginning, had nothing to her name, and in the end, she had starred in 23 films, grossing $200 million in their first runs, as well as was rumored to have a secret love affair with the president. Despite struggling with her identity and substance abuse issues, Monroe expressed her belief that others should always have confidence in themselves. And she stated, "I am selfish, I am impatient, and a little insecure. I make mistakes, I'm out of control, and at times hard to handle. But if you can't handle me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best." The one question I know that I would ask Miss Monroe would be, how do you feel about being such an iconic figure and even role model still so many years later? My second guest of honor is someone I grew up learning about, hearing about numerous times in school, and is even a holiday dedicated to his honor and his legacy. Enter to the table Martin Luther King Jr. King was an African-American minister and social rights activist in the 1950s and 60s during the country's civil unrest, and fought to establish equal rights for all segregated people. Martin Luther King led numerous nonviolent protests throughout the South and was a key face in the fight for civil rights. Being the face also led to many dangerous situations for him and his family. He was arrested, his house was bombed, and he was the subject of personal abuse by those who opposed him and his views. King once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Light can only do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." Despite being met with violence and hatred, King every time turned around and proclaimed his fight was nonviolent and was only about compassion and acceptance as his goal for all. I would be interested in speaking with Dr. King about what he thought about the state of our nation today. Even though we have come a long way since his time, we still have a long way to go. My last guest of the evening would be none other than Nikola Tesla. Born in and is now Croatia, the Serbian American was born with little to his name. But Despite not having materialistic items, Tesla had immense imagination and creativity. He immigrated to the United States and only had 4 cents to his name. Tesla studied engineering and physics and gained experience by working with Thomas Edison in the new power industry. Nikola Tesla created numerous inventions, and with his intellect, patented and created inventions including the rotating magnetic field, the basis of most alternating current machinery, which are motors that convert AC electric energy into mechanical energy, and Tesla coil, an induction coil widely used in radio technology, coil that is still used today. Tesla also won the contract at the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893 to install the first power machinery at Niagara Falls, which created power for the entire city of Buffalo for years to come. Despite Tesla's impressive resume and his brilliant inventions, what drew me to Tesla since first learning of him and his accomplishments was his ability to humble himself throughout his life and his career. It was Tesla who said, "Our virtues and our failings are inseparable. Life and force matter. When they are separate, man is no more." Tesla was a man who took his wins and his losses for what they are, a part of life. Many also bring light to the fact that Tesla was a selfless man. Despite his brilliance, he never really cared about money. What he wanted most was to provide free electricity to the world. I would be very interested to ask Tesla what his thoughts are on how civilization in the world has become so technologically advanced, but also why those in a position of knowledge and power got so far away from trying to make the world a better and functional place. Much like a dinner party you've had with friends, co-workers, new acquaintances, you more than likely took something with you. And I don't mean leftovers. More like a new opinion, a point of view, stories, experiences. When you imagine this dinner party with your historical figures, what would you take from it? How would their views and experiences impact you? Would it change how you viewed them? Would you possibly remove some of those people from your list? I'll leave you with this thought. In terms of my dinner party, I know there may be topics and views I may not relate to. But from those I invited, I would attempt to take something I learned and experienced from each of those who came, such as Tesla, selflessness, Marilyn Monroe, confidence, and Martin Luther King Jr., compassion. Thank you.